Welcome to Blender 4.5 course part 9. In this chapter we will continue the material design in Blender. In the previous chapter I introduced the texture nodes, and you already know about almost all of the texture nodes. Procedural texture nodes, which we can balance and adjust the attributes of each texture and generate the texture in real time, and this is the procedural texture. You can access to all chapters and the other parts from the playlist here, and also the link is in the description. Now I want to make three materials for these three shapes. Let's start with the cube. I need to delete these nodes. They're related to the previous part. Here, Control Shift and left click to see the result, or you can connect the BSDF output to the surface directly. Right, now let's create a marble material using the procedural textures. Press Shift A to add a noise texture. Here, press Control Shift and click to preview it. And here we need to adjust the attributes. Increase the scale, increase the detail, and we need to adjust the roughness and a little bit of distortion. Alright, here we need to press the Control Shift and click and connect the fact. Here we have a color output as well, but we don't want to use it. We need a grayscale or black and white marble. We need to connect the fact to base color. Also, I want to introduce a new node. Here, if we want to assign a color to the black or gray areas and assign a color to whiter areas, we have a node called Mix Color here, and we have a color A and color B, and also we have a factor. Factor adjusts the colors. For example, if we pick the red color and here we have a blue color here, we need to connect the result to base color. And here, as you can see, we have a purple color, and we can adjust it using the factor. If we increase it to 1, as you can see, we have a blue color, and if we decrease it to 0, we have a red color, the first value. I will upload every chapter of the course every week, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification to know about the new chapters and new tutorials. So we realize that the 1 value is near to the color B and the 0 value related to the color A, and here 0.5 is a color between these two colors. So what happens if we connect the fact to the factor? Here the gray or black areas related to the A and whiter areas related to the color B, and as you can see we have this result. I just wanted to introduce the mix color node. I will work with it later on other surfaces. Alright, here we have the base color. We don't need to increase the metallic. Marble doesn't have metal value. Here we have the roughness. We need to decrease it, and we need a kind of wet area. Alright, this is so good. Also, you can assign the fact to roughness, but it's not work in most surfaces related to the marble. It's not good. We can add some areas, dusty areas or fingerprints on the surface and assign it to their roughness, but assigning the fact to the roughness is not good. Alright, the next one is the IOR that I've explained earlier in the previous chapters. We can adjust the IOR and the light distribution in the specular as well. here, as you can see, we have more light reflection here. Alright, let's increase it a little, and this is good. Also, we can add a little bit of coat, which is the detailed roughness, and here we can increase the weight, and as you can see, we have more reflection, and this is good, and increase the roughness a little. Also, we can add more details and another noise node. Here we need to select this node or add another noise texture and press Shift D to duplicate it. And here press Ctrl Shift and left click and adjust it to add more details. Here increase the scale, set the distortion to 0. And here we need to increase the roughness. And as you can see, we have a beautiful effect. Alright, now we need to add these two textures, mix these two textures, and assign it to the base color. Here we can use the mix color node that we already know about it. Let's add the mix color and also math node. In the math node, which we need to connect the grayscale values, or in another word, black and white values. Here we have extra operations. We can apply extra operations on black and white values. For example, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, power, rounding it, floating it, and so on. We have many mathematical operations here. In this scenario, which we need to mix these textures together, we can use add operation. Also, you can change this mix to add. It also works. We can utilize these two nodes. There are no differences for our scenario. Alright, let's try this at first. Now, if you press the Control, Shift, and click, you can see the result here, here, and the combination of them. We can see the details here. Here we have detail, but in the add operation we don't have it. It's not so clear. We can change the operation. The second operation one is multiply. As you can see, the multiply is very better. Here, let's see. This is the first noise, this is the second noise, and this is the combination of both. Also, we have an operation called multiply add, and here we have an extra field. We can decrease or increase it, and we have this effect. But I think multiply is better. Here we can use the mix color and change it to multiply. Here we can connect this effect and this effect, and let's see it. Also, we have the factor that we can adjust the results. Right, as you can see, these two nodes provide a similar result, but I prefer to use the regular math node. Here, this is the result. Also, we have another node called brightness and contrast. Here we need to go to the color and brightness and contrast. My plan is to introducing the useful nodes that you need in your workflow. Here we can change the contrast and brightness of a result. Here we need to connect the factor and see the result. Control Shift and left click. Here we can change the brightness, also the contrast. Contrast makes the dark areas darker and the bright areas brighter. And we can now connect the result of the brightness and contrast to multiply operation here. Now we can change the contrast in real time. Alright, as you can see, the marble material has applied on the sphere as well, and it's very good and realistic. Alright, now let's make a wood material for the sphere. Here we need to select the sphere and press this button to unlink the material. The material didn't destroy. Here we have it, and we can select it from the list and press new. And here change the name to wood mat. For the wood material, if you have a reference, you can see we need a wave texture. Press Ctrl Shift and left click. You can try it on the cube as well to see the structure better. Here we need to change the distortion, right? Now it's look like a wood kinda, and increase the details, and here, and also detail roughness little. Now we have a good result. If you increase the distortion more, you have an effect like marble, not wood. Right, we don't need to change the type, the wave type, the direction, and also the shape of the waves. Right now, as you already know about the mix color, we can add a mix color here and connect the color. As the color provides a grayscale, we can connect it to the factor and connect the result to the base color and see the result. Now we need to set a color for the A and a color for the B. Color A should be a brownish color, and color B should be a brownish as well, but brighter. And here this is the result. Okay, we can make the roughness just like the marble. Here we can achieve this result, but I don't want to add. I want to add some bumps on the surface, just like wood texture. Here we need to use the normal map. As I explained earlier, normal map is useful for add bumps on the surface. Actually, when you make your textures in the Substance Painter, ZBrush, or Blender even, and export your textures, you have PNG, JPG, or TIFF files. That your normal map looks like a combination of purple and blue colors, and you easily need to connect your texture, your blue and purple texture, to the normal map, and you can see some bumps will be added to your surface. But here we don't have a texture, so we need to use the procedural textures. How to add some bumps to the surface? Here we need another procedural texture, and I think Voronoi texture is good. Press Ctrl Shift and left click, and here we need to increase the scale. Right, this value works. The next step, I need to change this distance to normal. Normal is a vector-based value, which we saw in the mix color. Here we have the vector value, and normal map is a vector type. We have a lot of ways to create the normal maps, but the easiest way is to press Shift A, and in the vector we need to add a normal map. And here we need to connect the distance to color and normal to normal map. In this way we don't have too much control on the surface, but let's see the sphere on the surface, but it works. Here it's not so good. We can increase or decrease their strength. In this scenario we need to decrease it here. Now as you can see we have some details on the surface. We can decrease it more. Also I've applied it on the cube as well, and you can see the surface without normal map, with normal map. Here we have some bump areas on the surface. Also, you can connect the wave texture to the roughness, but before that I need to connect it to the contrast and brightness. This is not good for the roughness. Here, let's connect it and see the result. As you can see, it's not good. These areas are too rough and these areas are too wet, and this is not the ideal result. Add a brightness on and contrast node, and here we can change the brightness and also the contrast. Here, this is better. Also, these areas are too rough, but the wet areas are good. And I can't change it because the entire surface will be affected by the changes. I can add coat. Here, I can increase the weight and increase the roughness. Alright, this is good. We have a roughness in the layer below, and at the top we have a coat. We can make the wood texture very better. We can add another wave texture here to add some details. Change the distortion, decrease it, and increase the detail scale, detail roughness. And here, let's connect it to the contrast and brightness. Here, this value works. And use mix color or math and use multiply. Connect this and this, and finally connect the value to the factor. Here, press Ctrl Shift and click to see the result, and this is our result. Let's disconnect the roughness and see the result. This is better, I think. And good. Let's see the cube. Right, good. The next is bottle. Actually, for the bottle, we need to use a texturing software because it's complicated. We need some logos here for the bottle. The top of it is different, and it's kind of different to use procedural textures for it. But let's create a simple material. For now, I think simply we need to assign a color here. Alright, this color works. And the next thing is to add a little bit of metallic value and decrease the roughness. Alright, this is very good. And also, we can decrease the alpha a little. Now we can see the other side. Also, we can add a wave texture to add some roughness, like this pattern here. Press Shift A, texture, and wave texture. As you can see, it is not good because we don't have UV on the surface. I will explain about UV in the next chapter, and it is so important for the models. Also, if we change the direction, as you can see, the result is not good anymore, and we need UVs. But let's try for the test. Change the distortion, add some details, and here we need to add a contrast node to balance the contrast and connect it to the roughness finally. As you can see, we have some areas, some wet areas on the bottle. Let's increase the alpha, and as you can see, we have some wet areas. It's not looks so good, but actually works for basic bottle material. Also, you can add coat. Alright, good. This is the basic material design in Blender, and I've also explained about the procedural textures in Blender. In the next chapter, we will work on the UV unwrapping and starting the advanced texturing to add more realistic and serious textures to our surfaces.